Well, we are in the throes of July, and I'm about to share with you just what it's really like to live in South Italy in July, because as you all know, this is a monthly series now that I'm doing on this channel where I deep dive into the realities of each and every month here in South Italy so that you can educate yourself on what to expect. And trust me, there's a lot that you need to know about this month of July, starting with, of course, the temperatures. Boy, oh boy, it's hot. Really hot. Now, I mentioned in June's video that really summer begins in June, and this year it was really unbearable in a lot of different parts of Italy, almost unusually so. But July is when the temperatures go up a little bit more, and then really in August they reach their peak. So it's difficult because if you've got things to do, you've got work to do, you've got everyday tasks that you need to be getting on with, it's hard to find the energy. You feel very lethargic. You feel like completely demotivated to do anything. And so July requires a lot of willpower if you still have to maintain some kind of normality in this month. It's really not easy. Now, as I've mentioned before on this channel and also in June's video, you really need to divide your day into two parts, because from the hours of around 12 to 4, they are the hottest hours of the day here in South Italy especially. And so a lot of shops, businesses, offices tend to close around lunchtime and reopen around 4 or 5 o'clock when it's a bit fresher. So, you know, there's a real stillness in the afternoons here in South Italy, and rightly so, because it's so hot. You don't really want to be outdoors unless you're at the beach or somewhere fresh. So it's the time where you need to really be resting, relaxing, having a bit of a nap if you don't have anything else to do. But this is it. Like, your day is divided into two halves, pre-lunch and post-lunch. This is the way days are divided here in South Italy. So it does impact your day-to-day life a little bit, because you can't really do as much between those hours as you may otherwise have hoped. So it's this, but it's hard in July here. I will be honest, with the heat, absolutely. I mean, I mentioned in June's video that my new home has stone walls, which is wonderful because it's like natural free air conditioning, but still I'm hot even with this. So this just goes to show you how unbearable the heat can really be here sometimes. So it's a huge thing that you have to factor in to your decision to move to this part of Italy. Now, coupled in with that are kind of the things that you will be getting up to in this month in terms of leisure activities. Really, all anybody does in the month of July, if they're not working, is go to the beach. It's like the number one thing to do. However, really and truly, personally speaking, I really dislike going to the beach in the months of July and August, especially because there are just far too many people. It's not as enjoyable an experience as it can be at other times of the year. And I just find that, you know, it can be a bit disappointing sometimes, particularly for the cleanliness of the beach and of the water itself. So a couple of weeks ago, we went to Paestum, which is a lovely beach, kind of on the way to the Cilento coast. And I love this beach because it's very big, it's sandy, it's beautiful. We used to go there a lot when we lived in Salerno City. However, we went there at sunset because really I don't want to go to the beach mid-morning or lunchtime, because that's when the majority of people tend to be there. Sunset, by the way, really good tip, is a great time to go to the beach in the month of July, and also Saturday afternoon sunset as well, because Saturdays here in Italy are almost like a normal working day. So a lot of people will still be working on Saturdays depending on their job. Sundays are the day where literally everyone goes to the beach. So they are the days when you will find the maximum amount of people there. But on Saturdays, a little less so. So that's a really good tip in the month of July. August, it changes completely because more and more people aren't working in August. So, you know, that's something else to consider. But I will say to you that we went to this beach in Paestum and it was lovely. We had a great time. Tina swam in the sea. However, the water wasn't particularly clean. I've definitely seen it cleaner at other times of the year. And this is the disappointment. You know, you could travel a long way to get to a beach location only to find that the sea isn't that nice to go and swim in. And this is the danger at this time of year. The sheer volume of people, the fact that, you know, unfortunately, it's also coupled in with any other pollution problems, that it doesn't add up to a great experience. So Yes, beaches in July. As much as it's a wonderful thing to do, I think you have to pick and choose your time, your location, and your day of the week very carefully if you want to really enjoy the experience. Now, another activity that people would tend to do at this time of year is go and have a barbecue at a picnic location. And we did this a couple of weeks ago as well. And it was lovely because we booked a table, we had a barbecue that was included as part of the experience, and it was just really nice to be in a beautiful spot. It was close to a river which you could go and swim in because the water was really shallow and the water was super fresh as well. It was lovely. So that's a nice alternative to the beach as well. And if you want to have a bit more of a behind the scenes look at what our barbecue was like, then check out this month's Aperitivo Lounge video, which I'll be publishing next week. And if you're not a member yet, then go ahead and join. I'll link it up here and you'll be able to watch a bit more of what our barbecue was really like. But it's this, outdoor activities definitely rule in the month of July. It's usually a division between the beach or a barbecue in the countryside. Some people go to the mountains. People have different places that they like to head to. But I just think that you have to find the place that's best for you in this month because it's not enjoyable everywhere because of the sheer number of people that are here at this time of year, including international tourists. Now, what you will find about the month of July is that there's a bit of a paradox in kind of the energy and overall vibe. So things are definitely slowing down. Like I can feel it. We're in the last 2 weeks of this month now. I can definitely feel a much slower vibe. All of the schools are pretty much closed now. There's a few summer camps that will remain open until the end of this month. But in terms of going to school to take exams and everything else, they've pretty much finished now. So the energy is a lot slower as a result. But what you will also find is that there's a paradox because companies will shut down or partially shut down during the month of August. So if you're working here in Italy in July, usually it can be one of the busiest times of the year for you because you have to wrap up your projects, finish your work, get everything done and dusted before the summer shutdown. So for some companies here in South Italy, it feels like the end of the year in terms of trying to get everything wrapped up before you go on your summer holidays. So there's this paradox. You could be extremely busy at this time of year, but battling with a really slow energy. So it's hard to stay motivated, I would say, if you are in this position. Now, something else to note about the month of July is that the summer sales begin. Now, you may not know this, and certainly this is completely different to how things are done in the UK, but sales here in Italy are not decided independently by the retailers. They are actually set by the different regions themselves. So what this means is that the regions themselves decide when the sales should begin and when they should end. And every region is slightly different. So for the summer sales, they pretty much all begin on July the 5th. However, different regions finish at different times. And when it comes to the winter sales, which usually begin in January, they do start at different times depending on the region of Italy you're in. So this is something that you may not be used to, but summer sales are great if you want to pick up some last minute summer essentials or stock up indeed for the next year even. You can get some pretty good bargains. It depends what you're looking for. But it means that, especially over a weekend, if people aren't going to the beach, they're usually going to the shopping centre to get some bargains. So you generally find a lot of people there as well in the afternoons. So just people everywhere. I feel like this is July in South Italy. People everywhere. Like, you know, beaches, famous tourist destinations, shopping centres, just everywhere because it's summer. And, you know, it's been argued recently that Italy is perhaps suffering a little bit from over-tourism. And I think in some towns and cities, people feel it more because they are not equipped to deal with hordes of tourists arriving at any given time. But it does feel like every summer, there's more and more people that are here and more people that are in like southern Italian towns and villages. So it's an interesting thing to observe and to see how the different cities and towns are going to deal with it going forward. But this is the season of summer and this is the month of July. You've just got to get used to it. I mean, this month as well, you will also find a lot of food festivals. So they really began in June and they continue on through July. They kind of stop a little bit in August because, as you know, we have that shutdown and we have the Ferragosto celebration in August. But you'll have a lot of food festivals, regional food festivals happening during this month. which are really quite cute. They're not necessarily like these grand events, so you've got to lower your expectations a little bit. Usually they're locally run and organised, but it's a chance for the community to come together, and it's a chance to celebrate local dishes and cuisine. So, you know, they are really nice in their own little way, but don't come here with these big visions. Like, I went to a cherry festival a few weeks ago and it was lovely, but it definitely wasn't as big as I'd made it out to be in my mind. So this is the kind of thing, you've got to set your expectations straight. What else happens in the month of July? Lots of concerts, lots of outdoor events. People really live outdoors in this month. So you will find people spending a lot more time outdoors, especially often evening, because it tends to be a little bit fresher often evening, really dependent on where you are. In the cities, unfortunately, not always so, but certainly if you're by the beach, in the countryside, at a higher altitude, it's often nice and fresh, often evenings, so people tend to spend a lot more time outdoors for sure. You'll also find that people are living in their summer homes at this time of year, so you may find that certain locations are busier because of this, because people retreat from the cities to their second holiday homes. And what else in July? It's this. There's this really nice energy. I must admit, I love summers here in Italy. Like, I've never felt like I need to go on holiday. Like, people, of course, here do go on holiday, but a lot of people will stay within Italy for their holidays if they have second homes, etc. But for me personally, coming from London, living here is a permanent holiday. Like, I still haven't outgrown that phase yet. Like, of course, I love traveling and I love visiting new places, but I don't feel the urgency as much as I did when I lived in London. Literally, when I lived in London, it was all I could do to stop myself from getting on a plane and going somewhere. But here, I'm like, I'm literally living in a holiday destination. Isn't it beautiful? So it's a different vibe for me. Like, I'm very content here, absolutely. But this is South Italy in July. You've got to get used to the crowds of people, the hot temperatures, the slow vibe. But you'll also benefit from lots of outdoor activities, just spending more time outdoors, especially often evening. So there's lots that can keep you occupied in this month of July. So I hope this video has given you a deeper insight into what this month can bring you here in Italy. And stay tuned for next month's video, where I will be talking about August, because there's a lot to say about the month of August. I will see you in the next video.